Howdy guys, I'm AutoEdits Jason, and this time on the Tahoe project, we're going to be installing these Baja Designs lights and this sPOD Mini6 switcher and source relay into this thing. Check it out. So now let's run down the ingredients we're going to be using in this video and why. We're going to be starting with the sPOD Mini6 and their Source LT fuse block. Now that's one of their most affordable ones in that lineup there, and truth be told, I ordered an import one first, and once I opened up the fuse block and looked inside there, I said, I'm not taking the chance on running these expensive lights off of that. And this is also one of those things where I'm like, well, this is made literally here in California, support the local businesses. It became an easier choice after that. Still obviously more expensive than the import stuff, but I'll show you as we do this install why this high quality piece is going to be, I believe, worth it in the long haul and just feels good to be supporting local businesses. Next up, we have something that's kind of exciting to me in the Baja Design stuff. Now, I'm choosing Baja Designs again because once I put the LP6s on the Jeep, they just absolutely blew me away with the look, the feel, the quality, and the race car-ness of this. These are all trophy truck style parts, and you know, like Baja 1000 this year, top 2 trucks, yeah, okay, you might see some Baja Design stuff on the front of those things. I always find that cool when you root for your brands. But here's a really exciting thing that they're bringing to us. We'll get to the race car stuff here in a second, but these are their SAE street legal fog lights or driving lights. And I'm looking forward to these being a practical daily use item here because they're street legal. And they come in at a competitive price point, you know, whereas opposed to the race car stuff that gets really pricey. These things are under 300 bucks, which is cheaper than the JW Speaker fog lights that I put on the Jeep. So that's kind of neat, and we're gonna go ahead and install these into the buckstop truck wear bumper on the Tahoe here. Now over here, we're gonna go on into just the cool race car stuff. These are the XLR, which is the round bezel. They have these in square and round, and these are the 80. Now I'm going up to the 80 because of internet and because it's just very, very cool. And what that is the 80 watts, much brighter than what they have in the very same family of XL lights. They have this heavy duty race truck style aluminum housing, the cooling fins. These have almost 9,000 lumen output. So again, typical headlight is 800 to 1,000, so you're going up to near 9,000. That's a lot of light. And on these, I have what's called the driving combo lenses here. I have the driving combo on the front of the Jeep on the LP6s. Just wow, that's all I can say. And these are something that you don't use on the street because of that exact point. They're too much light. They're great for trail, not for street. These right here, wildly practical, and they actually come in under some of the competitors. So let's see how they perform. Let's get them installed. All right, so installing them, probably one of the easier tasks you're gonna do in this setup. Not sure if it's a prerequisite, but mounting these things seems to be always in a very tight spot for your fingers. All right, big lights in, loose. Hey, there you are. Let's see if we can get this guy in. A little drama. Okay. Now this bumper came with brackets, and so I've already just installed those, and what we'll do now is we'll just snug these down. So for the moment, we'll get it snug. We'll get the bolts just preliminary tight, but that we could still move them a little bit before we tighten it all the way down. Get it centered in the hole. And we'll do final aim up, down, left, right once we get them on. Okay. Pretty happy with the preliminary lineup of these things. Now they're just tight enough where I can still adjust them once we get them powered up. And then we can just snug them down once we get them locked down. But they look pretty good in their homes already. I love it. I love it. I love it. So once I learned the specs and saw the build quality of this thing, it was a no-brainer. Definitely much more expensive than the import stuff, but if you're gonna trust your expensive auxiliary equipment to something, it should be something like this. What we have here, just the way this thing fits on there, everything is just really well thought out and well built. So you have 6 self-healing fused circuits here that should power most of the stuff that you need. And it just simply has a positive and a negative wire that you run straight to your battery and ground. And all I did was drill a couple holes and mount it to the top of the fuse block here on the Tahoe. So I have the fuse block here, and we'll just have to make sure that when we wire this up, we'll just leave the leads long enough to be able to get at our fuses. But that's it for the install on that thing. Now, this is an extremely elegant little pod. It has a very good feel to it. So let's go ahead and mount this to the dash, run our wire through, and then the SPOD is done. Then it's just a matter of running wires from our lights to here, call it good. So I decided to mount the Mini6 right here in this pocket on the dash. It's right next to the headlight switch, so I can turn the headlights on and then click the fog lights on whenever I want to. It just seems like a really nice way to have that, and we'll see how that goes in the future. And then it has one cable like this that will go from the back of this switch into the firewall. And we'll just drill a hole in the firewall, put a little grommet in that, and run this through. Now, a little tip I'm gonna just tell you now is go from the inside out, because this end going to the actual source fuse block is a little bit smaller than the one with the shield here that goes on the back of the Mini6. So it gives you a little bit more room. It's friendlier to go that way. So we'll get started, we'll get this mounted up. While we're here, I'll just take one of the stickers and we'll just go ahead and put these in place. All right, now that we've got all the heavy gauge stuff done and the panel mounted to the dash in there, I'm literally just crimping on these final connectors here that all come with the sPOD kit. We'll go ahead and put the heat shrink on my final wires. Now, the sPOD has made this wiring the easiest by far of any light wiring I've ever done. So if you're kind of hesitant, a lot of people get kind of caught in their heads that wiring is complicated and difficult, especially when you do high-end lights and high draw stuff because you have to have a relay. Well, the Baja Designs lights, at least the XL and the Squadrons that we're installing, both come with a fully dialed kit with a relay, power pigtail, switch, everything ready to go. Now, all I did, because we have the sPOD here, is just cut the 2 leads that go down and plug into the light. So those are now just down underneath the bumper and zip tied out of the way, and they come up right here. And we don't need this thing. And so I just crimped the sPOD connectors to the end of both of those. You can see here I put a little marker so I know that these are the XL80 ambers up in front. These right here are the Squadron SAE fog lights. So we'll just get our heat shrink in place. Warm myself up. Whew. Oh, that feels good. I'm Southern California boy. This cold weather. Whew. All right, since we know that we're dealing with our ambers, I want those in switch 2. Last wire. Just make that snug. Okay, you guys know I love things to be tidy and clean, and I get a little obsessive with that, but look how nice that looks inside there. And like I just mentioned, this is seriously the easiest you could possibly make wiring in auxiliary components, lights, whatever you're going to put into your rig with a unit like this. Even easier than the one that I put in the Jeep, because everything is self-contained right here. So this is pretty cool. So now we'll go ahead and put the cover on, tighten that down, and that is now final install. Everything looks good. Now we're just about ready to boot this thing up. Now what that entails is just literally starting the vehicle. The circuitry in here is pretty smart. So right now it's just seeing, it has battery protection, like low voltage cutoff, has a lot of smart stuff in here. And right now it's looking for a bit of a voltage spike, like when the alternator kicks on, to actually boot up. Boom, we are ready to go. The more I learn about this guy, the more I like about it. Look at this. So just to wake it up, just hit any of the buttons and the lights come on. They go off automatically. And then here are just some of the quick hit things to operate it. Once it's awake, you just hit it and it's now just on. That red light lets you know that they're on. And then if you want to dim these lights right here, you just hit these two buttons at the same time and you can see it goes down 20% or so till they're off. Then to have the lights come back on, hit these two buttons, and then to make them brighter, hit these two buttons consecutively until it goes back up to full brightness. So I think I'm gonna run it right at that brightness right there. And then we'll see how that goes for night driving and whatever. And then you can actually change these things to momentary by holding this for 7 seconds, and then that will just be only on when you hit it. Now it's time to fire these things up. We'll wait till it gets a little darker to aim them, but let's turn them on and see what we got going on up there. I can tell just from walking in front of it how bad this hurts my eyeballs, that these have to be aimed way down. Jeez, that is definitely not fair to use these on the streets. That is so bright, it's painful. Gotta take it for the gram. All right, now for the surprise is I went and got some of these cheapy aux beam rock lights for this thing. Now, I didn't go for the top shelf Baja Designs rock lights like I did on the Jeep, which are super bright and durable and all that. I went just for the party lights on this thing. These things are like 80 bucks for 8, so I put 6 on this thing and then wired it into circuit 3 on this thing, and it just makes me laugh and smile. And I'm gonna just leave them in party mode like this because that just makes me happy. It's hilarious. It's not like this is a rock crawler. It's just mostly for camping vibes, but I like it. Look at it. It's pretty hilarious. I'll put a link to these in the description as well. So the light's going down a little bit, and before I tighten everything up, I made a few adjustments, and let's check it out. So we'll go headlights first, and those are much closer now, and then fog lights, and as you can see, fog lights cut off below the headlights, and that's what you want here. So that's perfect. I like that. We're looking good. Now, just for fun, let's add in the XL80s. Goodness gracious. Look at that. This is mental right here. That is an insane amount of light. Yep, that's unpleasant down there. All right, nighttime demo. Let's start with the headlights. Headlights on low beam, you get a good baseline there. We'll do high beam, low beam for you to see what that is. Nothing exciting there. Now we'll go and we'll kick in the fog lights. Boom, and you can see all of this area around here is all filled in underneath the headlights. You don't want them to interfere with the beam out there, and those are aimed perfectly. So now this is for all the glory. Watch this. Let's kick in the XL80s. Bam. Like, seriously, wow. Come on, let's turn those off. Boom. The camera can barely keep up with that. And on. I mean, it's just absolutely nuts how much light those things put out. It's great. Absolute home run on this one. Well, that went amazingly good, I'd say. I can't recommend the sPOD enough and how easy that made all this go. And don't think it's not lost on me that I'm putting all this high dollar stuff on this $800 Tahoe, but the vehicle is proving to be that good. Like, it is just shining in every department I needed. It has just been grinding out miles. Like when the Jeep was down, when I was putting the axle upgrade, this thing was just getting me back and forth to work, surviving LA traffic, all of that stuff. And I definitely think if a vehicle deserves these fancy upgrades, this is it. It's just proven to be awesome. So I'm gonna get these things tightened down. Stick around, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. So thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, enjoy your drive. Just tighten these things up. Oh, that went so good.